Hey, Slay Nation, we're back with another episode of the So She Slays podcast. Today, I have a very special guest, and then also our co-founder, Chauncey, who's here with us today. So I'm Heather. If you didn't know, I'm your host, and then Chauncey over here.
Hello, I'm so happy to be here today. Thank you for having me on this amazing podcast. I get to visit like once in a blue moon, but I'm super excited. And we have our special guest, actually someone that you all should follow if you don't follow. I personally follow. I'm a big fan of everything she does. Please introduce yourself, our special guest.
Hi, I'm Tiara Willis. I am an esthetician, content creator, and makeup artist.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I mean, I feel like you are very humble because I feel like you have done so much more than just than just those like three things. Chauncey has been following you for a minute, so have I.
So brag about yourself a little bit, please. Like, please brag. Like, talk about all the great things you've done. Please.
Okay.
It's okay to
I'm gonna try. Okay, so starting at the age of 14, I launched a platform called Makeup for Women of Color. And I created it because I felt like there was really a need in the beauty space for representation for girls that looked like me. So this is a time we're talking about where, there was just not diversity in the industry at all. This is when foundations came in like 8 shades, and then maybe one or two of them were for Black and brown folks. So it was very difficult to find, representation, so finding inspiration, but then also, specifically finding products. So after doing a lot of research, I kind of became the go-to person for when it comes to advice for makeup for women of color. So that inspired me to create the platform. And clearly it was something that people needed because within 3 months I had already gained 10,000 followers. So it really took off from there. And then I was only in high school. I think I just started my freshman year. So once I realized like, oh, this can be an actual thing, I went into it full force. So I remember riding the bus to go pick up my brother on the Metro bus and just posting, creating ideas, creating graphics, sending pitches to different brands. So throughout that time, the first check I got was for a few $1,000s from one brand. And it was kind of interesting because I was only 14, so I didn't have a bank account or anything like that. So I kind of had to like break the news to my mom about what was happening. And she was upset that I hadn't told her earlier because by then I already had like 30,000 followers. So that was interesting. It definitely stressed my parents out a little bit because I was starting to get all these PR packages and I was being sent money, like a lot of money. And we kind of didn't know what to do with it. So then we're all freaking out about taxes and starting a business and all of that. And then I decided to graduate high school early. I knew that I did not want to go to college. I knew that, I had a career already, something that I had already wanted to do. And I did not have any interest going to college and, spending time on going to classes that, that I didn't really need. And then also going into unnecessary debt. So I graduated early. I graduated at 16. And I knew I wanted to do something after school. So I considered doing graphic design classes or business classes, but eventually I landed in aesthetic school because one, the reason why I like to wear makeup was because I had acne and dark spots and hyperpigmentation and all that. So I was like, one, I want to know how to like clear my skin so I can feel a little bit comfortable wearing makeup with and without it. And then also two, I knew that going to aesthetics, I would get my makeup license. And originally I had the idea of going to cosmetology school. And a funny story is that in New York, you can do a program like BOCES, which is basically like half the day you go to school and then the other half of the day you go to trade class. And I went to do cosmetology and my principal was not having it. She was like, she gave me the hardest time. One, because I had a really high GPA. I was getting straight A's. And then also knowing that I had this business that was going really well. So she wanted me to go to like an Ivy League school. And when she found out I wanted to go to cosmetology school, she was like, it's not happening. So she pretty much barred me from going to cosmetology schools. I remember having the meeting with my guidance counselor, her and my mom, and she was like, yeah, like she's not doing that. She basically said like going to a trade school was for delinquents, for people not graduating. And I'm, bigger than that. So my mom were like, okay, well, what about like if we went over your head and like pursued this. And she was like, I would not support it. We were like, okay, well, can she at least graduate early? She's like, yeah, that's fine. So that was our compromise. And all throughout school, until I did 3 years of school, and I would just always get harassed, and my friends and I in the hallway would start like ducking my principal, because every time that she would come up to us, she would just start almost like picking a fight with me. And she would tell my friends, like, don't try to do what Tiara's doing. She's the only one, don't, follow in her footstep. And I was always in the principal's office. I was always in the guidance counselor's office. So, but yeah, I toughed through that.
That's a new principal. You need a new principal.
And my main question now, have you went back to the school and said, well, look at me now? Have you done that?
No, I have not. I don't.
Don't lie. You lightweight. We're like, I was thinking about it.
I'm sure they can read it. They'll read about me, I'm sure. Okay. I remember in school, starting to find out about what I was doing and stuff, because I had been pretty active in my school, because I went to school that was mostly white, and there was like only like I think 1 to 3% of Black students. So there were things and issues with that. So I was always kind of working with my principal and dealing with those things. So we kind of already had a rapport. People kind of knew who I was. And then finding out about my career and what was growing, they actually had the communications director interview me, I guess for the school website or for the school paper or whatever. So I guess when it went live on Facebook, I remember going through the hallways and like everyone staring at me, and like people coming up to me being like, my mom like was showing me on Facebook and stuff, like, what the heck are you doing? Like, what's going on? So yeah, that was interesting. And then I remember my gym teacher once telling me in class that he saw me on Yahoo, because I did an interview with them. So yeah, it was interesting. So they know about me. But yeah, so I graduated and I went to aesthetic school, and in school I just talked about what I was learning online. My platform's always been very educational, and I've never been one to gatekeep information. And I always kind of wanted to feel like a big sister or a girl's girl to everyone, and making sure to share whatever I know, like I want my audience to know. So I would tweet throughout school, like, oh my gosh, did you guys know that you're supposed to layer your skincare in this way? So I was always just sharing information, and people gravitated to it, and my audience only grew. So even though I wasn't talking about makeup as much, my audience kind of went through the waves with me. So now I talk a lot about skincare. So I talk about, sunscreen, teaching people the right amount to apply, and like, how can we treat skin of color? What's the difference and treatments that we do for, different Fitzpatrick types or different skin types. So yeah, so now at my platform, I talk a lot about skincare, but now for 2023, I'm also kind of transitioning, talking more about business and entrepreneurship, because really as a content creator, I'm running a business and I've been doing it for about 7 years. So I learned a lot. I did not come from a background of financial literacy. A lot of my family, did not go to college or anything like that, or had backgrounds in law or money and things like that, or know about savings and retirement accounts. Like, we're just not well versed in that. So I figured out a lot of that on my own and the team that I built. So now with social media, kids or my generation, Gen Z, will blow up overnight, completely change their lives. They're like, teenagers who have millions of followers on TikTok and aren't making any money from it, especially with Black and brown creators. I find that they don't have management representing them, or they're just not getting the offers that they deserve, or they're being lowballed and things like that. So 2023, my goal is kind of, again, being that educational big sister and sharing, how to properly, represent yourself, being a content creator now. So not only talking about beauty, but then also making sure to talk about, financial literacy, entrepreneurship, contracts and negotiations, and just being an entrepreneur.
That's kind of like what we want to talk about too, is like, we want to like dive into this financial literacy part of this, because I know for a fact, like you said, like there's a lot of kids coming up, and there's also too a lot of people in their 20s and 30s who are finding some success, who don't really even know what to do with the money that they're getting, or even like, how do I know that my platform is something that's going to resonate with people, that I can go then find representation? Like, I think there's a lot of gatekeeping and mysterious, circumstances around like, is this even a thing? And how do I do that?
Yes.
So, I think with being a creator, and one thing that I didn't really understand was like how much I'm supposed to get paid and then what to do with this money. So, one thing that I learned is that I was just getting lowballed a lot. And I was finding out from other creators how other people were getting paid. And another thing that I learned is to never take the first offer. So I think being young and when a brand comes to you saying, hey, we want to give you thousands of dollars or even hundreds of dollars for doing this post, you're like, oh my gosh, like that's amazing. Like, yes, of course, you're excited, right? But then realizing now, throughout the past years, is that brands are always going to give you the end of the budget. So I've gotten deals where I've gotten 10 times, 3 times the amount of an original offer. For example, one brand offered me $1,000 to, engage in this one deliverable, and the end of the budget was actually $10,000. So I ended up getting that, but that's kind of how it is. So I would say to creators now, like, don't get so excited about what you're initially offered, because I've gotten multiple times of that size. And then another thing I didn't really understand was, one, I had to get a checking account, and I ended up getting a high school checking account. And then a story for that is, okay, now we have to get a business, I guess an LLC for her, right? So my family and I, we like signed up on LegalZoom, having no idea what we're doing.
Girl, us too. We did that too.
So we like registered for LegalZoom, and then we're like, okay, I guess now she has to get a business account, like business checking account. So we go to Chase, and the lady pretty much laughs in our face. She was not the nicest about it, actually. She was like, what are you talking about? She's way too young to have a business. Like, she can't do that. She cannot have this. Only if she was like a child actor or something. But I don't know why they allowed you to do that. So yeah, so that happened, and I was freaking out because I was getting papers from the state about this LLC, and I did not understand it at all. I was very confused. So eventually I went to see an accountant, which I recommend to all content creators. Most of the time, a consultation with an accountant is free. And one thing that someone told me a long time ago, another business owner, is to not sleep on mom and pops. I think sometimes we get caught up in like corporations, but actually like those small town, like, working with people in the community, those are actually like the best accountants. They have a lot of experience and they make things very simple. And with corporations, you'll be working with like different people, right? Because people get fired and hired. So yes, the accountant that you have or the CPA you have one day, they could get fired the next day. Now you're with a whole new person that maybe isn't as good as the other one, or they're not trained as properly. Versus if you have like a small town guy, like he knows what he's doing, right? And you don't have to worry that one day he's not going to be there. So I have really enjoyed working with, small town accountants, and my financial advisors, same thing, they actually work together. So I tell people, like, don't sleep on working from someone in your hometown. They can be great. And then also interview people. So I went through a ton of accountants or assistants and it's just interviewing people or financial advisors. And when you do that and you interview multiple people and have multiple consultations, you kind of figure out what's normal and what's not. So I talked to multiple people, and I would have a series of questions, and then maybe they would tell me something about they like to do. And then I'd ask the newest person that I'm interviewing, like, what do you think about that? And they're like, that's kind of like shady. Like, we don't really not supposed to do that. Or, I actually have these credentials that you're supposed to have as a CPA or a financial advisor. Then I ask the next person, like, okay, do you have these things? Because the other guy said that, So, you really pick up on stuff. And my assistant, who I adore, she was on all of my Zoom calls. So she was starting to learn like all of these different things. And I'll never forget one thing that she told me. She was like, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, always wanted to start my own business. But she was like, after working with you and being on these calls, I don't want to do that.
She's like, I changed my mind. That's a lot of work.
Okay, like it's a lot, but I love that you, especially your Gen Z generation, and like you said, it's hard to learn the ins and outs of any business. And I feel like Heather and myself were millennials, and the only thing we learned in high school was like economics and accounting, and it's like very base level, like even college,
Very basic.
very basic.
I feel
and
like one, our
Yeah.
school systems gypped us because like I'm like
Yeah.
there are
I'm
so many real life shit that like I should know by now. I should not be Googling this stuff.
Yeah.
it's
And
together.
for me, because I graduated high school early, basically my junior year, I took junior and senior classes. So a part of
Yes.
my senior classes was half the year you would actually take you would choose I think not an elective, but you could choose between economics and then I think a literacy class. So for about 6 months, I took economics, and I definitely learned a lot. One project that we had was in the beginning of the course, you would pick stocks that
Yeah.
so we all got to pick 3 stocks, and then
Did
at
that.
the end you'd see who made the most money. And guess who won? Guess who made the
Yeah.
most money?
Ah, you're like,
It
I'm
was
smart. I'm
me.
smart about it.
Girl,
I picked it was a time, or there was a hurricane that just happened. So I picked Home Depot,
yes.
and then I picked Amazon, and then I don't remember the next one that I picked, but they both did well. So yeah, but things like that you don't really learn about. Like no one
No.
taught me like what a SEP IRA is. No one taught me
Girl,
about a
I-
high
Google,
yield
okay?
savings account.
Same
No,
thing.
Google and YouTube,
Yes.
and
It's just like
And
YouTube
now-
Academy. YouTube Academy is what I call it. Because
yeah,
it's also, especially as women of color, like we don't have generational wealth. It's very rare that we have generational wealth. And our parents, our parents are amazing. They've done so much great work, but they don't have the knowledge of like stocks. And like, because now we have like, if you buy stocks, how do you work with your stocks? Like, how do you do this? Like, luckily, like
yeah.
we have YouTube Academy, we call it. But like, yeah, especially as a woman of color, how do you navigate that as a woman of color in these like big business deals? Because they will lowball you because you're a woman of color. They don't see you as a value. How do you deal with that?
As an entrepreneur, I realized that I'm not good at everything. So delegating work.
I mean,
has been the
congratulations,
biggest-
because it takes a little bit to get that far.
Yeah.
When you're an entrepreneur, you're like, all right, I can't do it all. I have my zone of genius, and then I just have things that don't make sense.
Yes, exactly. So delegating work has been the biggest benefit for me. I wish I did it earlier. But one, I realized that there are just not enough hours in the day for me to do what I need to do. So if I'm spending all this time on YouTube or on Google trying to research these things and actually making content is what makes me money, I'm missing out on that. I'm missing out on the things that make my bread and butter because I'm so focused on these miscellaneous things. And then also too, I know I'm not good at everything, right? I have my expertise, but I'm not a CPA. I'm not a lawyer. Like I'm not any of those things. I didn't go to school for that. I didn't go to college at all. So I need to, so
You're
what I
doing just
do
fine
is-
without it. It's okay.
Let's just
so
say
I,
did really well
yeah.
with college. Really well.
So I just was like, okay, I need to hire help. And it's hard, I think, too, because being an entrepreneur, you have to trust a lot of people. So I have to trust, like, and especially being young, like, I know that people that are older wanted to know that they could take advantage of me. Like that is definitely, something I always keep back in my mind. I've heard, crazy stories of like Steve Harvey being taken out millions of dollars by his accountant, and that's Steve Harvey. I'm like a 21-year-old girl. Like it's probably easier to get me than to get him. So as an entrepreneur, it can be really hard because you are trusting these people a lot with your finances. But one, having people sign NDAs is very helpful. But two, you kind of just have to get over that, like, because if you are so scared of something, you're going to prevent your growth. So for me, when it comes to like financial literacy, is just hiring a really good team. So I've worked with some lawyers. I have an accountant. I have a financial advisor. And one thing I recommend for that is having an accountant and a financial advisor that work together, because when it comes to taxes and sometimes saving money, that may be opening an IRA account, and you need a financial advisor, to do those things. So you want to have people that work together. So my financial advisor, his accountant is my accountant, and vice versa. Like we
Perfect.
all are like getting the same services here. So that was also helpful. And then finding people to trust you, I recommend going through referrals. I think that just helped me a lot because I did a lot of like interviews through research and Google, but I kind of found the most comfort or feeling the most comfort in people that were referred to me by other people that I adore and respect. So but definitely hiring a team helped a lot, and I learned so much through them. And then also going through the interview process, you learn a lot as well on what's normal and what's not normal. But definitely hiring a team and also keeping an eye on things. So even though I have people managing these finances, I always make sure to be on top of it. So one thing I would always ask is, okay, do I have access to my money? Like, I know you're going to invest in these different things. Great. I want you to do that. But can I take it out whenever I want? Like, will I have full access? That's the most important thing to me. You don't want to give someone 100% access. You want to keep on top of it. So, your accountant maybe is going to send that money to you to pay your taxes or whatever you owe. Make sure you're going online to your IRS or whatever, your state government, and making sure that those things are paid, that you don't owe anything. Because if you're not staying on top of these people, you think bad things can happen. So when expanding your team, you are delegating work, but you're also managing more people at the same time. So that's definitely a little bit challenging, but it's something that you have to do. So not only am I doing, my bread and butter things, but then I also have to make sure other people are doing their job.
Yeah, that kind of like makes me want to ask you. I know as an influencer, you've done a lot. You've been able to, make this your full time. Like this is what you do. I'm wondering, I know there's a lot of people who maybe have not hit the level of success that you have. When was it time, do you think, for you to be like, okay, maybe I need to talk to an accountant. Maybe I need to get a financial expert in on this? Because I think a lot of people feel like they're not at that level, or they don't have to worry about it.
And also, like, when you decide that you need a lawyer for negotiations, like, these are big questions that you think, oh, I could do it all myself, but there's a lot of things in those little contracts that are very hidden in the details. You're like, oh, they're trying to scam me. How did you know it was time?
I think I started doing all of that when I was around the 6-figure range, but I do wish I did it earlier. Because I have gotten that question before when I'm, posting about advice for being an entrepreneur. People ask me that, like, when do you think is the right time? And honestly, I'm like, I don't think there is a specific time. I think when you're in an uncomfortable situation where you feel like, I don't know an answer, like, I would recommend outsourcing help. And when it comes to lawyers and contracts, you can just pay them for reading a contract. You don't necessarily have to put a lawyer on retainer because that's really expensive. And if you have, a lawyer just review this contract this one time, whatever they tell you, you can just apply to everything else. So just hiring a lawyer for, one instance, just reviewing, a brand deal or whatever, the same thing is going to apply to the next one. I mean, they're all kind of pretty the same. And then I think in general, like, just a lot of consultations, they're often free, or you can just book them for this one project. Don't worry so much about putting people on a retainer. You don't necessarily have to do that. I think when you're making I think in the 6-figure range, but also when you're finding that the amount of time you have is not enough to stay on top of everything, that's when it's time to ask for help. So I don't know if there's like necessarily a number, but I think it's how you feel. If you're starting to feel overwhelmed, if you're starting to feel confused, that's when it's time to ask for help.
And we're going to start wrapping this up a little bit, but like, I have a question when it comes to the differences between like Gen Z and then everybody else, as far as like millennials and so on and so forth. Because I do feel like that, Gen Z is coming through with the wins here a little bit earlier in life. Especially like influencers. There's a lot of there's a lot of Gen Z that is growing in that atmosphere. So I want to talk about maybe the differences and the struggles that you run into when it comes to one, approaching brands and working with them, but also to just being a woman of color and working with these brands. We touched a little bit on it, but can we elaborate?
I think what an issue can be, I think for my generation, they're very creative, right? I think that's like the biggest thing. They create beautiful content, or they're just artists in different, right, in different ways, but they miss the corporate side of things. And I think that's one thing that I wish I knew earlier. Like, I'm a creative, like I've always been that way. I've always been artsy and like things like that. But I forgot that there's actually a whole corporate side to this. Like, I'm the creative, but the people I'm working with, this is corporate America. And I didn't go to college. I'm a
Facts.
creative.
Oh my
God.
gosh.
I like video, but I'm actually working with a lot of corporate America. And I think I definitely learned a lot from my mom because she's worked in HR for like the past 10 years. So talking to her, I've known a bunch of things. But one thing I would tell any Gen Z, person watching this is to get on LinkedIn. Like, people sleep on that, but LinkedIn is the hottest place for corporate America. Like, that's where I make amazing like networking opportunities. That's when I really get to post my entrepreneurship achievements, right? Online, it's more about beauty and things like that. But LinkedIn is actually where the corporate side, where the business side is. So you make fun and cool videos and all that stuff, but like, don't forget you are working in corporate America too. So don't sleep on that. And then I think when it comes to being a woman of color, there is, some research done that there is a really big pay gap when it comes to Black and brown creators. I find just being in the community and just following a lot of them, majority of them don't have management. And it's very frustrating because it will be the same creator where, someone who's not a person of color and someone who is, they will have the same amount of followers, same amount of engagement. And I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, the person of color does not have management representation. So they're not getting the brand deals they want. And even if they are, they're not being paid adequately. So that's why I'm coming out with like my masterclass and more resources to kind of help these kids who don't have the management representation that they deserve, because there just is a huge pay gap, and it's a really big issue right now.
Yeah. I mean, well, some of the people that we work with, like Chance, that we've worked with, and they are Black and brown creators. And we know for a fact, like, I mean, even as we get older ourselves and they're still creating content, it's the same. They may be managed, but they don't get nearly as much of the brand deals as others.
And if
Yeah.
you do get,
and even
it's not good enough. It's not worthy of
yeah.
it.
And even just seeing like brand trips, there'll be like 30 people and maybe 1 or 2 of them are brown. Like, it's so funny because when I first started this, like, that's what it was all about, right? Lack of representation, all those things. And things have changed a lot. Like, now, I think, especially when we're talking about the Fenty Beauty effect, we see, very large chain ranges, but some of the issues are like still the same. It's kind of like the same things I posted about when I was 14 on things that frustrated me, still happening now being 21. So there's just some definitely work to be done. And I feel like someone that's been there from this range to this range, I'm still kind of always talking about the same thing, but kind of in different fields, whether it be makeup, be skincare, and now, talking about entrepreneurship and those things. That's kind of what my whole platform is about, is really advocating for, people that look like me.
Well, I'm glad like we're adding you to the army of people who are advocating. I feel like it's needed. And I also feel like too, I have some hope for Gen Z in their creativity and their like, I mean, there are the individuals like yourself who are just like, look, I mean, I don't know all of this stuff, but I found out, and here's what I found out. So, and it removes a lot of the mysteriousness behind this whole industry, which needs to happen. I mean, there's several industries in which that needs to happen, but this one is one of them.
No,
for sure.
Like, my sister and my cousin were fans of, like, when you first came out. So that's how I heard about you. And like, they needed someone that looked like them to be like, oh, I need someone like I can relate to, instead of like the standard people that you see on like film or media. So thank you for being someone that can, like, they felt seen, which is nice to hear. That my younger sister, my younger cousin, like, I felt seen. So I was gonna interview, like, oh my God, you get to meet her. I was like, yes. You're a celebrity in my household, because like, you actually have and they're a little older.
Awesome.
Like, it was nice to like know they had someone they can look at and be like, I know I can do my makeup this way or like skincare this way. So thank you.
That's awesome. Yeah. thank you.
Representation does matter. So to wrap this up, where can people follow you? I mean, you did mention a masterclass too.
Yes.
So give us all the details.
Yeah, so you can follow me on pretty much all social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Pinterest, LinkedIn. It's all the Tiara Willis. So the TIARAWILLIS. My website is thetiarawillis.com. And my masterclass is coming out this month. So the theme is securing and negotiating a brand deal. So I'm going to teach you how to create a community, how to build your brand, how to network, how to pitch, and then also, dealing with rates and negotiation. So that's kind of the breakdown for the class, and it's all filmed. It's not a live class, it's pre-recorded, so you'll be able to pause and play. But I'm excited. It's going to be really cool. I'm going to post about it when it's officially coming out. We're hopefully bringing it out around the 21st of this month. But yeah, I'm really excited. It's definitely just going to be about me being your creator BFF. So it's going to be cool.
I love that.
it. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate having you here. And until next time, Slay Nation, we'll catch you later.
Thank you.